Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our monthly meet and greet. My name is Alison Lauer, the Executive Director of the Florida Kiwanis Foundation. We're so excited to have you all with us tonight. This is our monthly call focused on Young Children Priority 1. It's a 30-minute call that's split between a speaker and then some time for Q&A. Unfortunately, Joanne won't be with us tonight. Please keep her in your thoughts as she recovers from COVID. But with that said, I wanted to be respectful of your time and for you taking the time to turn in and learn about home literacy activities. So tonight I'll present to you 6 tips and I'll ask for you to interact throughout it with me. So without any further delay, let's kind of jump in and we'll go through this together. The topic of literacy and home activities hasn't been new for our community, and especially this group in particular. We've been receiving a lot of different questions on ideas and tips with how to help our children and grandchildren within our homes, and especially as things continue to be dicey with COVID. So tonight we'll be discussing ways to incorporate literacy within your own home. And the answer to your question is yes. Literacy activities can be done right in your home, and you can actually do them. The first activity we're going to discuss is reading. So when we think about literacy, it seems second nature to presume reading is a good literacy activity, but common questions come up here, such as when should I start reading and at what age is too early? So the research is really clear here. It is never too early to start to read to our children or grandchildren. They can be read to on the day that they join us here on our beautiful earth. So these are some of my favorite pictures. This is my niece and my little, to give you a visual. They're getting too big. So another question is, what should I read? And this is a good question, as many of you probably are not reading card toddler books anymore, and maybe are bringing the journal or different subscriptions on your phone. So this is kind of where we're going to start and talk a little bit more as a group. What is maybe your favorite book, or what do you like to read on a daily basis? And Tom, legal documents can't be your answer.
Believe me, I don't want to read those on a daily basis. Very much into history, and right now I'm reading a book about a spy network during World War II, run by a lot of history type stuff.
Oh, that sounds very interesting.
I like it.
Anyone else reading anything good, or enjoy to read a certain article or journalist every day?
No, I haven't been reading in a while, that's for sure.
I'm reading a series of books by Alice Hoffman. She wrote a book called Practical Magic, which became a movie, but there's a 3-book series on magic, and it's sort of cool, just a pleasant read.
Oh, that sounds good. That movie is one of my favorites, so I bet that is a fun series. Well, on your screen are a few of the favorites in my household right now. So the first one is Ocean Life. My son loves this present. It was a gift from Santa, and he can't wait to tell whoever is willing to listen that octopus have 3 hearts and 9 brains. So this is a great one that he loves. The second is Oh, the Places You'll Go. This is my favorite childhood book, and it's been a great tradition. I get this book at every milestone in my life from my parents. So from my kindergarten graduation to the purchase of my first home, I've received a copy of this. There's many copies throughout my house. And then my favorite grown-up book is Invisible Man. And my son has read the intro to this at New Year's Day. And he loves everything from the hearts of the octopus to Ralph Ellison, which is very wordy. So it doesn't really matter what you read as long as you read, and you'll be intrigued to find out that your grandchildren are interested in what you are reading, because it seems, amazing and magical and so grown up. So some tips for reading to littles is to read slow. Sometimes they get excited, they point at the page, they may ask you to repeat. Repeating things is a part of the way that our brain processes. So when a toddler or a little asks you 10 times what the sign says, and you answer back 10 times, they're processing it. So they're not ignoring your response, they're just taking it in at a different rate than we do. Next is have fun. So all of us bring our own personalities. So use your different voices, your hands, your own experience to bring the text to life. The next is read everything. So from the milk carton label to the books to what you see in front of you. It should become a joy of reading, and that's really what our end goal is. So the last thing is read it again. I don't know about you, but it takes me a couple of times to read the same thing for me to get everything out of it. The first time I only may get the big things, and the next time I may pick up a few more of those smaller details. The same with our kids. Each time they read it, they find something new and exciting. And this is one of my favorite quotes by Carl. Definitely one of the greatest gifts that we can give our children and our grandchildren is the gift of reading. I think one of the most magical places in the world is a library, right? It has that odd energy that you walk in and you can walk in anywhere into the world. And that certainly is the case when you give someone the gift of reading. So the second tip tonight is asking questions while we read. And often educators hear parents say that my kid is a great decoder, or they're really good at calling out the words, they're good at sight words, but they're not really sure what they read after. And maybe some of you have experienced this firsthand, right? You read the first page of the newspaper, but you're not totally sure what it said, kind of zoned out. So being a good reader involves both decoding the words and having a good comprehension of what actually they are saying. A good way to do this is to ask questions as you go. This will keep them and you engaged. Judy Blume is definitely a big author from when I was a kid, and I just happen to love this quote by her. Let children read whatever they want and then talk about it with them. Tip number 3 is point out signs and labels. So I have a little story that I want to share with you guys regarding this. I live in Northeast Florida in Jacksonville, and really we are only a hop and a skip away from Georgia. So actually I think that we're in South Georgia here. And my husband and I were driving in the car many moons ago in college, and it's about 50 exits from where we were going. It wasn't very far. And the entire time my husband was reading out each one of the signs for the exits. It was probably the longest 50 exits that ever happened. As a driver, and we'd only been dating a couple years, I wanted to basically get out of the car. So we survived, we get there, I don't say anything. A couple weeks later, his brother, my brother-in-law, jumps in the back seat. And all of a sudden there's 2 of them. They're reading out every single exit sign. And I really am about to lose it. And then Zach, my brother-in-law, goes, we used to play this as a game as a kids, and it clicked. My husband now is an educator and realized it was meant to strengthen all 3 boys' vocabulary and also help their parents stay sane during long car trips. So the moral of the story is to read everything, even if it really tortures your significant other. So signs and labels are an important part of our everyday life. We may even take them for granted sometimes. But showing and engaging our kids in these signs is a really great way for them to learn. I wanted to give you a few examples. This is my son at a local park, and he was learning about the fish that were caught off a pier. So you can see flounder, sheephead, and some of these other ones here. And this is the Jacksonville Zoo. I put a big arrow so you could see it. They have road signs for the different directions and a railroad crossing. It's definitely one of Elijah's favorite things to do and to read at the zoo. And they're almost every educational park or place that children are involved. So if you have a local museum, aquarium, they've already incorporated some of these signs and labels that we use every day. And this is the third, this is Percy and Tommy's train set. This was a newer addition into our household, and it came with lots of cool signs. So my son's holding a sign. There are some signage for the different tracks. So this is something incorporated that we see today, not only on a big scale, but also a small scale as well. So did any of you play letter hunt with your kids or as a kid? No, okay, that's good because we're about to play. So I want you, wherever you are, to take a moment and look around you. This isn't a trick, I promise. And I want you to see if you can find the letter A. It can be on a frame, a glass of something. It can be on a piece of paper, a stamp. I'll give you a second. Okay, awesome. So did anybody find a letter A, and would they be willing to share or show us? Go ahead, both you guys.
My agenda for my meeting this evening, my club meeting, and see, agenda.
I like it, Dan.
I have a list that I was working on, and it has my daughter's name, Alexis.
Ah,
I like it. Mr. Weller?
Well, I don't get to go by first name.
Oh, tell him I said.
A flyer of a frozen foot race that's coming up, and the letter and the word "what" is on there.
I like it. Mr. Wiley?
I'm drinking water out of a tumbler, and it's Kiwanis International, and it's got an A right in the middle.
I like it. Anyone else?
My name, Alfred.
That's true. I like it.
An old atlas.
Atlas, that's good. Well, I'm glad almost everyone found something with the letter A. So this is what word hunt is. It can be done anywhere, any place. You can do it at your dining room table with a bottle of ketchup, with a magazine, something that's in front of you. It's a great way to incorporate the recognition of letters and sounds just through your everyday life. And it's something that's easy and quick. Tip number 4 is to sing nursery rhymes and songs. So this is always a fun one, and I always learn when we discuss nursery rhymes, especially in a mommy's group that I'm a part of. What were or are some of your favorite nursery rhymes?
Baba black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, 3 bad wool. 1 for the, don't forget the rest.
That was impressive.
3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. See how they run.
I think my favorite is Wee Willie Winky, but I really didn't hear it until I was watching Bullwinkle at the age of about 21.
Well, I guess it's never too late to learn, right?
Yeah, Bullwinkle recited it really nicely.
Well, all of the songs that you guys named and more, you know, the ABCs, Old McDonald's, they're all meant to help our littles learn something. So Songs can teach animal names, anatomy, patterns, numbers, and colors. Think about head, shoulders, knees and toes, right? So learning becomes fun-filled and easy when it's done through singing and song. And actually, we've learned that littles learn at a much faster speed when it's fun and interactive. So usual repetition can take, hundreds of times usually. With song or with play, it can take, 10 or 15 times. So we actually see that this technique is really successful with littles. Not only is singing good for memory, but it also helps with brain development and emotional development as well. So some tips while you're singing. A great thing that I once heard as a child, and I did not feel this way actually. My mom and my grandmother are terrible singers, and I always thought that. But I guess the average child doesn't care what you sound like. They're just happy that you sing. And I think that's true. So when you sing, make sure that you sing slowly, that you pronounce each part of the song. Also that you repeat the song and that you use your hands. So maybe some of you guys know the Itsy Bitsy Spider and you know all the hand motions. It was really good. It gave you a visual as a kid and to your kid or grandchildren about what the spider does throughout the song. It helps walk them through the narrative, which is important. And then if you can use any instruments or noise makers, don't forget your pots and pans with wooden spoons make great noise makers and instruments. And it's always better when you do it at someone else's house. So if you have children that have grandchildren, please do it at their house. It's even better. So unfortunately, we can't escape technology, even with our children. And today we don't only take in stories one-on-one or through books, but our children are exposed to stories through YouTube, TV, and movies. And a great way to incorporate language with this, other than listening, is also to put on your closed captions. So this is a great way to bring it full circle and make sure that they're getting just a little bit more time there. And the last one is talking. So how many of you have heard of the word gap before? Anybody? Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm a little bit surprised no one's heard about this. So I'm glad that we're discussing it tonight. Here's a quick overview. Okay, so now maybe some of you guys will recognize it. It's been called different things over the years. So when I was growing up, it was called the word gap. Now we call it the 30 million words. This is the concept, and there's an overwhelming amount of research today which shows children from low-income families hear about 600 words every hour, compared to children of higher income families which hear 2,000 words an hour. So throughout the first 3 years of their life, this equates to about 30 million words. And that's a big gap between children in low income houses and children in higher income houses. And we see that this 30 million word gap really contributes to academic performance and so much more. And as we think about early childhood reading, and we know how important that first grade reading level is, this becomes even more and more important. So if you guys haven't heard about this word gap, and it's not something quick to mind, I love TED Talks. Caitlin did a great TED Talk with TEDx Yale, and she's talking about closing the 30 million word gap. It's about 8 minutes long, and it will give you some insight into the theory and how we can kind of close it collectively. So on that note, the idea is just to talk to your kids, talk to your grandchildren. It doesn't really matter, what we're talking about. We want to expose them to vocabulary and how we express our thoughts and our emotions, how we speak to each other, how we respect each other, how we use words as a part of our everyday life. And communicating with littles will make us even better communicators. So if you have grandchildren or little children, please take the time to read and speak to them. So I hope I did an okay job with being a fill-in for tonight with you guys. And I want to take the opportunity to maybe answer any questions or discuss any points or maybe tips that you want to add to our discussion.
Oh yeah, I really don't have a question or anything, and many of the things you talked about tonight I've heard of before. But I got to tell you, one of the programs that we had at Gainesville Club was reading to pre-K kids and in kindergarten. A month, I think we go by one of the schools, one of the lower schools. We take a book in with us and we read to these kids, your picture books, and if it's down monkey, I make sounds like monkey and all this other stuff and point the pictures at. I love that. Unfortunately, COVID came along, we haven't been back. But that was so much fun. I learned that one of my cohorts from the club went into a class and they go, "Where's Tom? Where's Mr. Tom?" So, you know, I have a reputation to live down to.
That's a
That
very
sounds
good
like fun.
program because, oh, sorry. That's a very good thing. Our club does that a lot, but we haven't been able to do that since the COVID because we, of course, we have not been able to enter the schools. But we twice every month we have 4 schools and we read to the kids. They love that. They look forward to having us go there and they so miss us. And they talk about the ladies in the orange shirt because our club shirt is orange. And it's amazing how they remember, you know, they might not remember some of our names, but they know the ladies in the orange shirt and they would sit on the mats and before you know it, they're on top of you and you would read to them. So it's really, really good. And one of the things we would have meetings with the parents, you know, when they're having like prize giving or something, and we would always encourage them to read because we do have a reading program and we would the kids who read the most books, we will give them an award at the end of the school year. And one of the things I know we stress to the parents is, you know, if you take a cup up, talk to them. What is this, a cup? So as you have them around and show them the things and repeat the words. And that's also a way of reading, you know what I mean? Because they get to know this is a cup, this is a phone, and that sort of thing. So those are the things we encourage in our literacy program.
Those are great suggestions. So I'm glad you both had the opportunity to read, and hopefully as maybe our world next year will look a little bit more normal, you guys can get back to reading. We have had some clubs reach out to the foundation regarding virtual readers. So I'll let our trustees know if that is something that they're still looking for. It's not the same as being there in person, but maybe it would still be fun and feel a little bit of the need to read to them. So I'll keep you guys updated with that.
And if I could just say, because we're not able to go and read, when we find what we're doing is bringing them activity sheets. And so they can do they do the coloring and that sort of thing. And we do it for whatever is happening that month. Like Martin Luther King on Monday, we brought them things about Martin Luther and then they would color and there's something there, you know, little thing. So it's really good. We don't just, because we can't read, we stop. We are doing activity sheets for whatever it is that's happening that month. It's a really good thing. They enjoy that.
That's a great addition. That's so nice that your club does that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us tonight. Next month, we're really excited. We have Florida District's Young Children Priority 1 chair that will be joining us and speaking. Oh, excuse me, she's coming up, and then so is Jen Faber. She's the executive director of the First Grade Reading Initiative. So those are topics that we've been discussing here in our meet and greet. So they're going to be discussing different techniques and why that first grade reading level is so important. And then also statewide, what some of our clubs are doing for young children, priority one, and maybe ideas that you can incorporate at home. The activity sheets is a great suggestion. Maybe there are some other ones that you can easily plug in and we can continue to make a difference, even though we can't get into a lot of our learning centers. The last reminder is FKF has been designing, activity sheets, word scrambles, coloring sheets, and so much more on our blog. So if you haven't been following us on social media or our blog, those are available for download. 3 to 5 are released every month, and it's an additional resource for your kids, grandchildren, and also your club. So think about that when you're maybe plugging into new activities. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. It's great to see so many faces, 2 nights in a row. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you all next month. Stay warm until then, and have a great night.
Thank you.